Okay, so this is a reassessment video of forces, my understanding of forces. Okay, so we have our skier, right here, and he is on a ramp moving at a constant velocity. Well, first you got to think about what the question ultimately wants to know. Well, they want to know what's the kinetic friction force moving on the skier. Well, we know just one of the basic understandings is that if he's moving at a constant velocity with no acceleration, then the kinetic frictional force must be the same on the skier as the force the skier is moving. So, in other words, it must be equal to the component parallel to the ramp. So that would be his mass times gravity and cosine of the angle of the ramp, because we know that as you increase a ramp's angle, then whatever object is on the ramp will be moving faster, and or if the angle was lower, the object would be moving slower if the force stayed the same. Okay, so our 85 kilogram skier, constant velocity, acceleration is 0. What we get to find our kinetic frictional force is sine of the angle times the Newton force. Okay, so we do that. There's just the simple math. We find that, this gives us the newtons times sine of the angle gives us 160 newtons, and 160 newtons approximately, rounded, would mean that the frictional force on the skier as the skier is moving would be 160 newtons up the ramp. So that is the frictional force pulling against his force, which is also 160 newtons down the ramp. So that was part A of the question. Let's see, part B of the question. So what is the coefficient of the kinetic friction? Well, we know that the coefficient, to find the coefficient, we need to know what the frictional force is by looking at both the y, both the y and the x components of the frictional force. So if we put them both over each other, look back at our force diagram, we can tell that we need this, which would be the parallel, the parallel component of the skier to the ramp over the perpendicular component of the skier over the ramp, skier on the ramp. We put that together, everything's just canceled out, are essentially 1, and we just would have tangent of 11 degrees, because this is sine 11, cosine of 11, pretty simple math. So we get the coefficient of kinetic friction on the skier would be 0.19. Alright, thank you. Friction is pretty interesting. Pretty simple, but still interesting.